Hi, I'm Malcolm Brenner, author of What Goddess? Recollections of a Dolphin Lover, and this is the Anthony Rogers Show, the best show in the universe.
Hi, I'm Sam Catanzaro with Underground St. Louis, and you're listening to the Anthony Rogers Show, the best show in the universe.
Hey, how you doing? I'm Zach Roach. I'm with Making New Solutions for the Virgin Islands. You're listening to the Anthony Rogers Show, the best show in the universe.
Republican Anthony Rogers has no previous political experience. Rogers, a comedian, is well known for a podcast called The Anthony Rogers Show.
Hey man, this is Tommy Chong, and right now you're listening to The Anthony Rogers Show.
Hey all you cool cats and kittens, it's Carol Baskin, and you are listening to The Anthony Rogers Show.
Hey y'all, this is Kevin from Candlebox. You are listening to the funny man, Anthony Rogers.
Hey, my name is Alex Sulkin, writer of Ted and Family Guy, and you're listening to The Anthony Rogers Show. Lucky you.
At Revolution Coffee Company, we are dedicated to giving you the best cup of coffee you have ever had, while supporting those who keep us safe. We roast our coffee daily, and we offer same-day shipping. Our coffee never sits in a warehouse or a shelf getting stale. Our prices beat our competition, and our coffee speaks for itself. Check us out at revolutioncoffeecompany.com.
Bam. Welcome back to the greatest show in the entire universe. Today we have Sam Catanzaro as a co-host.
What up?
And Zach Roach also. And then,
How you guys doing?
And then we, as our guest today, we have Malcolm J. Brenner. He's an American author, journalist, and zoophile. He's best known for his controversial novel, Wet Goddess, a love affair between a college student and a bottlenose dolphin in the 1970s. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well today. Some days I'm not. I have a couple of chronic conditions like vertigo. But some days it just lays me out. But today I'm doing well.
Well, thanks for coming on the show and taking some time to come on here, man. I appreciate it. So this is like a crazy story that I normally I don't hear. And then somebody like advertised too. So it's kind of interesting. Like how did this whole thing like come about? I guess you said in the book, but I mean, how does this whole thing like come about for like listeners or whatever?
Oh, it was 50 years ago. Okay. It was 1970. And I was a sophomore year student at New College, which is just down the road in Sarasota. And very simply, a new writer moved to town. She had this one book out about these dolphins, and she wasn't happy with the photographs, which were done by a professional New York photographer. So she looked around and she stumbled over me. I was a young, thought I was hot photographer. And I got asked to take the pictures for her book, which gave me basically a carte blanche to the little amusement park where this story happened.
That's crazy.
So I had entry and easy access to the park.
That's crazy. What do you guys have a question?
Yeah. So who is the Wet Goddess exactly for everybody listening?
The Wet Goddess is the dolphin, whose the name we gave her at least was Dolly.
Gotcha. Dolly the dolphin.
Yes.
And
an unlikely heroine.
There you go. And how old do dolphins usually live till?
In the wild, females live longer than the males, even as they do in our society. Females can live to be about 50 or 60. And female killer whales, which are a big species of dolphin, can live to be over 100. Those are the matriarchs of the clan, and they are followed by the other whales because they know so much about where to find the fish when there was no fish around. Yeah,
I got you. So I'm looking at your picture, Malcolm, on Wikipedia, and this is from, I guess, 2005 or whatever. Mm-hmm. And and it's saying that, the love affair between a college student and a bottlenose dolphin in the 70s. Did you what kind of controversy did you receive from that?
Well, let's see. Bubba the Love Sponge called me up one morning and decided to do an ambush interview with me. That cost me a website and a couple of DOD attacks on my phone number and things. I lost a job. Well, not a job, a gig I had taking photos and writing articles for a magazine. But, as far as throwing a brick through my window or, Molotov cocktailing my car, nobody's done that. It's been annoying. It's, I know a lot of people are disgusted just by the very idea that a human being could have sex with a non-human creature. But, the Academy Award winner, The Shape of Water, at the movies, you remember that, 2019? Woman falls in love with a kinder, gentler version of the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Okay.
No, I haven't heard that.
Won an Oscar for the best picture.
Yeah,
so go figure. Apparently people like this as a fantasy, but when you try to introduce it to them as reality, it doesn't work.
Yeah, but do you ever think like the creature, the Black Lagoon that she falls in love with, isn't that more of a fictional creature, like a fantasy creature? Whereas this is a dolphin. Like there's a lot of dolphin advocates out there. It's an actual real animal. Do you think that triggered people a little bit?
Well, the movie was so obviously a fantasy. I mean, even without the creature from the Black Lagoon, it would have been your typical Hollywood, rag to riches, bad guy gets it in the end story. I don't know. If you stop and think about it, when a creature evolves in the ocean, it doesn't evolve into something like the creature from the Black Lagoon. That's a hominid. That's like us.
If they make
what
a movie,
it evolves into is a dolphin.
If they make a movie about you and your dolphin, like who would play you and who would play the dolphin, you think?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't allow any real dolphins to be used in that movie. I thought about this a lot. They would have to do, the dolphin would have to be computer generated because you see, every live dolphin that appears in a film is a live dolphin that's being held in captivity. And I am one of those dolphin advocates you just mentioned a while ago. Admittedly, I have a different story from most of them, but I'm still an advocate for, the dolphins. In fact, I think I'm more an advocate for dolphins because I think I know a little bit what it's like to be a dolphin. You, Anthony, saw the film Dolphin Lover, right?
Yeah, you sent it to me, so I watched it. Yeah,
right.
I had a question.
Sure.
I had a question
Yes.
outside of dolphins too. Like I heard that your wife was abducted by aliens. Is this true too?
No. She went along voluntarily.
Do what?
I'll repeat myself. She went along voluntarily.
Oh, okay, that's awesome. So
Okay.
how'd that happen? Because that's an interesting story too that I like to cover a little bit.
Well, that's described in a novel I wrote called Melchior, An Interstellar Affair, which doesn't sell. But it's there if anybody wants to buy it, and it's cheap right now. I'm operating from $9.99. It's normally $14.95. But the story is that 2 weeks I was engaged. I was living in New Mexico. And working for a border town paper covering the Navajo Nation, which was amazing in itself. And I met this woman through the local Unitarian church and fell in love with her, and we were going to get married. And 2 weeks before our wedding, we're watching the X-Files. This was, the 1990s.
Scully.
So, yeah. So, It's the episode where Mulder gets drawn out to Ellen's Air Force Base and gets captured while he's watching the UFO lights by the camo dudes. And Scully has to take a fake reporter who is actually an intelligence agent hostage with her gun to his head to get Mulder back. But of course, when she gets him back, his brains have been wiped, so you can't tell her anything. My wife was falling asleep during this program. I was staying awake because my father was a radar operator in World War II. Perhaps this begins to explain things a little more. And he was a radar engineer in the Cold War. So he built radars that were looking for Russian planes and missiles coming over the North Pole at us. He engineered those things very successfully. He was a genius, but So I've been interested in UFOs ever since I was a kid, and he had a bunch of UFO books by people like George Adamski and Edward Ruppelt on his shelf. I still got some of them here. Anyway, I'm laying there, and my wife is snoring beside me, and I'm muttering to myself, I'm saying, wow, it should really stir me up, And she said, and I said, what did you say? And she said, well, kind of like waking up in the middle of the night and finding a man in a silver suit standing next to you. She didn't even realize what she'd said. She was still half asleep, but my blood instantly froze in my veins. And I said, my God, you've been abducted. And she said, no, I haven't. I went voluntarily. And that was the start of the story. I spent the next 45 minutes hearing an outline of it for her. But you see, the odd thing is that her memories of this event, maybe not so odd, typically of abductees, her memories of this event had been washed right out of her brain. Well, you can't completely do that. Memories have a funny way of coming back. The connections rewire themselves after a while. And her story came out in bits and pieces over the time I was married to her, which was 6 years. And in the book, I tell that story, the story of my relationship with her. I tell the story of the alien's relationship with her, which went on for a while. And I also tell the story of her first husband's relationship to her and the sort of damage that that type of an abusive, contemptuous relationship can do to a woman.
How old were you when that had gone on?
Excuse me?
How old were you when that happened?
Oh, let's see. 91, 51. I guess I was a little over 40, about middle age.
And she voluntarily went.
The scenario was the alien was very humanoid looking. Just a second. Hi, honey. I'm doing an interview now. Can I call you back? Okay. Talk to you later. That's my daughter. I do have a daughter, by the way. And she's very good to me. I should mention that.
I was wondering if it was a dolphin.
It was Dolly.
Yeah. That, by the way, that is a kookaburra, not a dolphin that you hear in those clips, sound clips.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What does a dolphin sound like?
Well, there's a lot of wave noise in the recording, first of all. It can sound very much like that, but it can also sound like almost anything you want.
Little fantasy.
A calliope, it can grunt, it can whistle, it can squeak, it can do all kinds of things, but it can't make itself understood to most humans.
You think Dolly the dolphin is still alive?
I know she's dead. She died in captivity.
What was your relationship with her like?
I wrote a whole book about it, man.
Right.
You have 2 hours to explain.
Well, right. Did it start off first as love? Were you guys more like acquaintances, and then all of a sudden, there was something there?
Look. I approached this part and the dolphins in it with one idea in mind: get some good pictures for this woman's book. Okay. Dolphins were not part of any sex fantasy I had at the time. I knew they were mammals. I knew they had to mate somehow, but I didn't know how. And I wasn't interested in finding out. Okay. Like most teenagers, I was terribly aware of the fact that I was different, and I really didn't want to be. I was discovering that I was a zoophile. I was not attracted to women. Other guys sat there and looked at the Playboy fold out. I glanced over their shoulder and noted that, the shadow on her left breast maybe covered the nipple a bit, but it didn't turn me on. I got to the amusement park. I was introduced to the dolphin. And of course, like everybody else, I wanted to go in swimming with the dolphin. So I did, after I'd met her for a while. Now, some interesting things happened to me before I went swimming. But what happened was when I went in swimming with her, she wouldn't let me touch her. She'd swim right by me so fast I couldn't reach out, or she'd be over on the other side of the pool. And the assistant dolphin trainer was there, and he said, well, sometimes with dolphins, it's like with girls, you got to make the first move, reach out and, grab her. I thought, well, is this guy really saying this? So I reached out my hand, and I got the faintest touch of her flank. And I was real frustrated. And I just thought to her, what are you so scared of? What is wrong with these hands? They are, average human hands. They've got 5 digits. The bones inside them are very like the bones in your flipper. You must be able to sense that. And I thought about all the things we do with hands. We make bread. We deliver babies. We caress each other. Men use their hands in foreplay with a woman. We forge steel. We build things. We break eggs. When I got to that thought about how people use their hands in foreplay, the dolphin, who had been swimming around, stopped. She lifted her head out of the water. She looked me quite clearly in the eye, and she put her head down and swam over to me like I was an old friend and let me touch her anywhere she wanted. That was weird. And I thought, could the dolphin be sensitive to my thoughts, But I didn't buy it then. I didn't accept it. But the fact is, dolphins can read your mind if they want to. They can get into your mind like walking in an open doorway, whether you invite them or not.
Is it like a sixth sense sonar type thing? Is that kind of what it is?
It has nothing to do with their sonar. Okay, a couple of things here. Okay, first of all, dolphins have been on this planet about 6 times longer than we have. They have been here for 12 million years. That's before humans were tree shrews. Okay. That's when we're running around like squirrels in the branches. And they had been unchanged in those 12 million years. The fossils have the same brain case, the same size brain case that they do now. So nothing has challenged them that made their brains grow in 12 million years. They go back much farther than that, of course. Our last common ancestor was like 90 million years ago, before the dinosaurs bought it. Oh God, where's it goes? No, the sonar is something else. This is, I think that, see, we humans have had a distraction of being able to chip rocks and build things with our hands. Dolphins don't have that distraction. They've never been technological. So what do? What do they have to play with? Their minds. The other thing is, a dolphin is much better at changing their consciousness than a human is, because they have to do this as part of their everyday job. You're playing around at the surface. It's bright. The water pressure is nice. The water is warm. There's other dolphins around. You can see things with your eyes. Okay, let's say you want to go hunt a fish. And let's say that fish is 1,000 feet down. You can dive 1,000 feet in a couple of minutes if you're a dolphin. But the pressure on you is going to increase. And at 1,000 feet or 330 meters, it's going to be 450 pounds per square inch all over your body. Your rib cage will collapse, but that's okay because your lungs, your ribs are that cartilage. Yes, the ribs are cartilage. So they just pop out again when you hit the surface.
Hey, sorry to break up the show for a second, but I want to tell you about these CBD line Delta gummies. They're Delta 8. They're awesome. So if you're on like probation or need a job or whatever, they are federally compliant and awesome. I mean, they actually work. Like a lot of those Delta ones don't really do much, but these are good. Also, they have
these CBD gummies, and also these are vegan. So if you're vegan, like I mean, and you're not one to eat gum, you usually can't eat normal gummies. So these are vegan as well, vegan friendly as well. And these are melatonin and CBD. Best sleep of my life. And I remember my dreams. I mean, best sleep ever. Do it, and back to the show.
It's dark. You can't see anything. And there are things down there much larger than you that could kill you without a moment's notice, even if you're a dolphin. So you have to change your consciousness just to go from one extreme to the other, just to dive down 100 or 500 feet in the ocean. It's something we humans don't do on a regular basis. And when you sit down and you look at all the systems in the dolphin where their consciousness has some effect on it, it's overwhelming. They can control their hearing. They can manually turn down the volume on their hearing so that it's not as sensitive, or readjust it up again. They can hear a single raindrop falling into the sea from 100 feet away, a single drop of water. This is how good, they live in a world in which they depend on these things for their life. So they are very finely tuned. And when we take them and put them in a concrete tank with no freedom to move about, no choice of who they consort with, no friends, it's ultimately a death sentence for them. And what happened to Dolly was, after I took advantage of an opportunity because the amusement park was shutting down. It was developed into a bunch of condominiums, and the dolphins were all sold. So she was going to a dolphinarium in Gulfport, Mississippi. And if you've ever seen this place, I mean, it had a good reputation, but it's got a concrete dome over it, makes it very dark inside. And aside from a big community pool, the performing area for the dolphins is horrible. It's broken up into little concrete bathtubs, just big enough for them to turn around in. And raising their head out of the water, the dolphins can see a waterway with boats going past where they would have access to the open water. See, this was another thing about Dolly. She was not your ordinary dolphin. She was the only dolphin outside of the US military who was trained at that time to work in open water. And that was her act at the amusement park. She went out with a riverboat into Lemon Bay and jumped alongside the boat in open water for fish. She could escape anytime she wanted to. And sometimes she did. A couple of males would come by. She'd swim off with them for a roll of the eelgrass. And the next day she'd come back, and go right back into her pen. But people accuse me of raping a dolphin as if that was possible. A team of US Navy SEALs could not rape a dolphin, my friends, if you didn't want to be raped. And then it wouldn't be rape, would it?
I want that on a t-shirt. A team of Navy SEAls couldn't rape a dolphin.
I'd wear that in the island. I'd rock that in the island.
Where are you, by the way, calling in from? You're Zach Roach.
Yes, I live in St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands.
Oh, really? Is that the back? No, it can't be the background behind you because that's winter trees.
Yeah, so my father passed away. That's the only reason I'm up here right now.
My condolences, sir.
Thank you very much. Yes, I actually swim and snorkel with dolphins and sea turtles quite often.
Really?
We have a lot down there.
Yeah, St. Thomas is beautiful. I made a video about diving with dolphins in the Bahamas. It's on YouTube. It's called Diving with Dolphins Part 2, I think.
Dolphins actually get high from pufferfish. You know that?
Yes, I've seen that. I've seen that bit of footage, and scientists can't explain that because the chemical in pufferfish doesn't get humans high. It gets us paralyzed is what it does. Paralyzes everything. And you can't even tell a person's breathing if they get too much of it. Fugu. Maybe the dolphins, have a different type of nervous system than we do. I'll tell you what, the thing that's really puzzling about dolphins, though, is how much like us they are. And this is what I don't understand unless it's the product of convergent evolution. In other words, we and the dolphin are over time developing towards the same thing because we're both thinking the same thing or doing the same thing without realizing it. But somehow the dolphins, for all their physical differences, have ended up with minds very much like ours that can communicate with ours directly. And I don't understand how this happens. And people think I'm crazy when I talk about it. But here's a bunch of books. Now these are just.
What's some of the worst criticism you've received about this, like so far? Like, what have like really like negative things people have said or something?
Well, they make a lot of criticisms on my videos. You know, like I'd cut your dick off with a big sharp hunting knife if I could, or they ought to throw you in, you know, the deepest hole in Calcutta and throw away the key. You know, you must be an evil, wicked, horrible person. It gets boring after.
Do you have any fans that relate to your story? Like you're like, dude, I love dolphins too, or whatever.
I have many fans. I don't often hear from them. When I do, it's very telling. I'll tell you a story I heard recently. A guy in Holland ordered 3 copies of Wet Goddess. The shipping was going to cost him more than the books were. I sent him a message and said, sir, you know, there is an ebook of this available, you know, from Smashwords. Would you rather buy the ebook? And he said, no, I already bought the ebook. I read your story. These are 3 copies for friends. And I said, oh, okay, we'll just confirm that you're over 18. He said, oh yeah, I'm 54. I'm in the Netherlands. I've read a lot of books in my life, but your story was the first one that made me cry. That to an author is just amazing validation. I actually made somebody feel the same way I did at the end of this book. And there are a lot of people like that. I just don't hear from them. They're not motivated to contact me the same way the people that want to do me harm or express a negative opinion are. But look, here's 2 books by a guy named Frank Robson. He was a dolphin trainer in New Zealand, Thinking Dolphins, Talking Whales, and Pictures in the Dolphin Mind. These are both about how he's a very straight guy, you know. I've been ahead. And a big part of communicating with the dolphin telepathically was smoking some weed. It definitely made it easier for him to contact me. He's a very straight guy, New Zealand fisherman, got hired to train all the dolphins for the first marine land down there, and did it all by telepathy. These 3 books are the Perfect Pair trilogy by a British dolphin trainer who also used telepathy. And this guy trained a fucking blind dolphin, okay? It could do the show just fine. It just needed to know when it had to act. Because the dolphin's main sensory organ is not sight. It's sonar. Whoever brought that up, you have the right idea. They can do much more with their sonar than we can do with their sight in the water. It gives them a great deal of information about whatever they're locking it onto. The Navy is envious, frankly. The Navy would love to know how they do it.
I've been refraining.
Hey, I always do this when I'm being interviewed.
Wait, so like with being a zoophile and all that kind of stuff, like did it end after Dolly? You know, was that the only relationship that you've had over time with a different species, or
no,
you know, have you explored that further?
Oh yeah, I had a couple of relationships with dogs. When I was a teenager, I had a relationship. Well, I describe in the novel how I tried to screw a pooch my mother had, a bitch she used to breed, a poodle bitch. They were miniature poodles, though. They were not adequately sized. And I didn't hurt the bitch. I tried for like maybe 30 seconds, and then, she obviously was not going along with this. So I jumped down, and I felt terrible about it. And I, tried to pretend I hadn't done it and things like that. Nobody found out about it, but it influenced my thinking later on because I didn't want to have the same kind of relationship with the dolphin. Now, the dolphin was trying to answer, I think, the only thing that explains her commitment to courting me and the fact that she kept doing it month after month, even when I was discouraging her or trying to discourage her, speaks to very, very strong dedication, very strong motivation. Now, there's a famous scientist who studied dolphins in the wild named Ken Norris. And Ken Norris summed up a point about dolphins like this. He said, dolphins have sex the way humans shake hands. I think that Dolly wanted to find out why humans are so reluctant to shake hands with dolphins. She wanted to find out, yeah, they are curious about us too, None of the other dolphins at the park would give me the time of the day. But I think I sent you the photos. Can you put those photos up, Anthony?
Well, I have to go through my email and stuff, but I don't know.
Oh, shucks.
I can put them in. I can put them in as we're when in editing. Actually, we'll talk about it.
Well, I sent him a couple of photos of what happened when I brought a young woman that I was fond of and hoped to get something going with to the pool to go swimming with the dolphins, because everybody wants to go swimming with dolphins. The dolphin wouldn't play ball with her, wouldn't play catch. And when she actually got in the water with the dolphin drew her over to the far side of the pen and then began smacking her in the face with her snout.
Oh, wow.
The dolphin had never done this before in her life, apparently. She was the gentlest of all the dolphins at the park. That's why the trainer let people swim with her. But I was horrified, The dolphin obviously knew that this young human, was her competition. And she wasn't having any of it.
Jealous.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
And later on, when the female dolphin and I were trying to get it on, after the park had closed, when all the other dolphins were gone, there was one male left that was fond of her. And he did the reverse to me when I got in the water. He would have attacked me, I think, and might have injured me. But Dolly, I don't know what they did because this was all going on in the water, but I felt thump in the water. Like she either rammed him with her snout or smacked him with his tail flukes. But I jumped into a rowboat that was there. And Dolly did something surprising. This is really surprising. And this proved to me that dolphins are capable of outthinking each other, okay? Dolphins hate swimming through narrow spaces. Being air breathers, they're always conscious they might get stuck and unable to breathe. They always have to get back up to the surface, even though there's no reflex like in us that keeps us breathing when we go unconscious. If a dolphin goes unconscious, it stops breathing. Unless another dolphin revives it, it's going to die. She swam to an opening between two boards that separated the pool we were in from another pool. And she rolled on her side, she collapsed her lungs, and she swam between those two boards, even though there was barely enough space for her to get through. And I gasped when she did this because it was very dangerous. If she got stuck, I'd try to rip things apart with my bare hands, but I probably wouldn't be successful. But she got through and she got into the other pool. And the other male dolphin would not follow her. So she stuck her head out of the water and said the dolphin is the dolphin equivalent, come on in, the water's fine. And we did. That's where we ended up making love.